Alright, hello everyone. Back once again in Disco Elysium, new recording. Let's read a little more about communism. La Fumée, Volume 1, Number 4. The leading intellectual organ of Martinet's communism offers a radical Mazovian perspective on a range of contemporary issues. The cover features a stylized portrait of the late King Frissell with a pair of white antlers growing out of his head. This Harry is not a communist, but if anything, reading this book will help solidify his prejudice against it.
The front of this quarterly journal features a large satirical portrait of the late King Frissell. From the sides of his head, a pair of white antlers spread to the corners of the cover.
Why Frissell?
Because Frissell was incompetent, foolish, and cruel. In short, the embodiment of everything the communards wished to overthrow. It's satire, you see.
Flip through the pages, see what catches your eye.
To your disappointment, there aren't any full-color pictures to direct your attention. Just column after column of closely set text, interrupted occasionally by little doodles in black and white. No advertisements, you notice. So who's funding this radical commentary? After rifling the pages with your thumb several times, you return to the table of contents. The magazine is divided into several sections: international developments, Kunst und Kultur, and local concerns. Just inside the cover, there's also an editor's note.
Read the editor's note.
Comrade, as you know, this journal takes its name from Mazov's immortal expression, du cristal à la fumée. This was his way of describing the way the rigid, crystalline structures of capitalist ideology turn to smoke under communism. But, like the structures of capitalist ideology, we too are at risk of going à la fumée, unlike many publications which are content to spoon-feed their readers reassuring drivel. La Fumée is committed to telling the radical truth, even when that truth may drive away potential subscribers. Only 4 issues in, and it sounds like they've already alienated their readership. Perhaps they've overestimated the market demand for this kind of commentary. So please, if you value our radical Mazovian perspective on contemporary politics, culture, and international affairs, please consider subscribing today. Yours in struggle, the editors.
Kim, I think this is a communist magazine.
What do you expect? It was laying around the office of the Debarders Union. They're probably bankrolling the thing.
You flip back to the front of the magazine. The table of contents unfolds before you.
I want to catch up on international developments.
This section includes a long, tedious critique of the latest round of free trade negotiations between the EPIS nations and the Free State of Semenine. You also skip over an article about heavy fuel oil smuggling along the Messina border, something about bear wrestling in Samara, book riots in Yugograd.
Bear wrestling.
Whoa. Bear wrestling. Flip back to that.
Yeah, I'm very curious about that.
It seems to be part of a new public fitness initiative in the People's Republic of Samara, SRV, devised and promoted by none other than President Kanajinsky himself. According to this extremely credulous account, Uncle Sport, as he's affectionately known to his people, has recently decreed bear wrestling the national sport of the SRV.
Hang on, tell me more about this Uncle Sport.
Based on the description in this article, he appears to be an extremely competent and democratically elected president. Sapormat Sport Kanajinsky is well into his 3rd decade as president of the SRV. Outside Samara, he's known for 3 things: brutal repression of internal dissent, monumental corruption, and a near pathological obsession with physical fitness. Don't forget the moustache, right? Like all Samaran men above the age of 40, President
Great, now let's get to the bear wrestling.
It's quite straightforward. A standard match features one man, or in some cases woman, against one bear. 2 competitors, 1 ring, 5 rounds, or until incapacitation. According to the SRV's Ministry of Information, the program has been a tremendous success. Public support stands at 87%, and youth obesity and alcoholism rates are down 12% and 7% respectively.
I wonder if there's a correlation with that and the people who were killed by the bear.
This is the SRV we're talking about. If you think those are the real numbers, there's probably a guy who wants to sell you a bridge in La Chute.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I trust these numbers.
What are you, a statistician? Did the moral intern send you on a fact-finding mission? This is the SRV party line, comrade.
Kim, do you think there's any chance our case will take us to the SRV?
The Samaran People's Republic? No, I should expect not. Why do you ask?
I was thinking it might be fun to see a bear fight.
They're quite the spectacle, as I understand. I've heard they make the people in the front rows wear plastic sheets. On account of the blood, you see.
You flip back to the front of the magazine. The table of contents unfolds before you.
What is Kunst und Kultur?
It takes a moment, but gradually it dawns on you that Kunst und Kultur must mean arts and culture. Why they decided to title this one section in Volda is beyond you. Obviously because it's cool to drop random phrases in foreign languages. As you leaf through this section, you come across several reviews of recent radio plays, as well as a brief artist spotlight featuring a local artist identified only as CS.
Cindy the Skull.
The main feature, though, is a long essay titled Tip Top Tournée, a critical Mazovian perspective. The Tip Top Tournée is an inter-Isolari racing series, mostly known for its high speeds, ludicrous sponsorship deals, and high death toll. In Revachol, it's held quadrennially on the prestigious Zero Carousel racing circuit.
With all the different options here, it definitely seems like the game, like the developers were aware that you would definitely like kind of soft lock yourself sometimes, where you just couldn't pass any rolls. Because like the amount of like optional tangents and such, they're like, alright, yeah, we need to give them something to pass the time. Read the profile of CS.
This so-called artist spotlight is really just a brief Q&A, made all the briefer by the subject's evident hostility to her interviewer.
Yeah, that definitely sounds like Sydney. Alright, let's see what the communists have to say about Tip Top.
You think you're settling in for a relaxing recap of the most recent season, maybe sprinkled with some nice anecdotes about a few of the more colourful drivers. Instead, you find yourself skimming a 10,000-word feature about all the politically problematic aspects of Tip Top Tournée.
Wait, what's wrong with Tip Top?
Where to even start? For one, there's the crass commercialism of its sponsorships, and then there's the practically criminal emphasis on deadly motor crashes. So, all of it, basically.
What's wrong with a good motor crash? They just keep it interesting.
And that precisely is what's problematic about it. Were it not for the promise of random, spectacular violence, audiences would quickly lose interest. At the end of the day, it's the destruction of these 750,000 real racers that you're really watching for.
Yeah.
You see, one cannot avoid the conclusion that Tip Top Tournée is simply the apotheosis of spectacular entertainment under capitalism.
Kim, you wouldn't believe how badly written some of these articles are.
I can imagine. Something tells me there's not exactly a glut of young communists itching to write about Tip Top for La Fumée. If I had to wager, I'd say they've never even seen the inside of a motor, much less a motor race. I take whatever they write with a large grain of salt.
You flip back to the front of the magazine. The table of contents unfolds before you.
Let's see what they mean by local concerns.
Unsurprisingly, much of this section is taken up with articles declaring unqualified support for the dock workers' strike. You skim the headlines. Paint the harbor red and white. Martinez tames the wild pines. A city in revolt. First we take Martinez, then we take La Delta. Finally, there's a brief article by the writer, G. Martin, accusing the owner of the Capeside Apartments of illegally attempting to evict certain communist tenants simply for not having paid their rent.
I think that's the apartment I broke into. Why should I care? This doesn't have anything to do with me.
The eternal problem, according to G. Martin, is that under capitalism, the worker is rendered incapable of perceiving their own agency or lack thereof. Thus, they tend to experience their own oppression as though it were happening to somebody else. You flip back to the front of the magazine. The table of contents unfolds before you.
That's enough of that thing. Let's put it away. Let's go read in a more interesting locale. Why not? Oh, we're actually pretty close to the fish market. It's probably not a bad idea. Yeah, let's read this map again. Maybe this will update the fucking map wall challenge.
The worn map features the patchwork grid of your finger move. Finally.
For a more detailed view of the map.
Okay, no, that was nothing. Wait a second. I think I might be able to buy more books from the little girl outside. She might have a different collection compared to Plaisance. Any more reading material?
Hello again, sir. Are you interested in a new and exciting book this time?
She sways slowly on her feet. What kind of a store is this anyway?
It's a bookstore, sir. We sell books, postcards, and some board games. It's called Crime, Romance, and Biographies of Famous People.
Books? Postcards? Easy. Even a kid would know all of this.
Little girl, I know what a book is. Books are like very long letters with stories inside them.
Yes, that's exactly it.
I also know what a postcard is. It's a small cardboard picture that you can send to a friend or a loved one.
You got it, sir. What about board games?
Who cares about board games? No one.
Okay, sir. This was all very enlightening. Can I help you with anything else?
Is it okay if I ask you some questions?
Okay, sir. I'll try to answer any questions you have. I hope they're about books.
What is your name?
My name is Annette, sir. My mum, her name is Plaisance. She owns the store. She's inside minding the register or organising the stock.
The girl gazes at the window, then suddenly jolts, her eyes wide as if recalling something.
Feel free to step in and browse our wares.
And you're standing out here in the cold because?
I'm signalling that the store is open. Otherwise people might not know. They'd miss out on the crime, romance and biographies of famous people.
Such a good trooper you are, already learning the value of hard work. I pat her on the head.
Thank you, sir. I'm happy to help Mum out with the store.
She smiles and stands upright like a little soldier. Shouldn't you be at school or something?
I do my studies at home at the moment. I have to help Mum keep this place running.
What is school, anyway?
School? Well, mine is a big yellow building on Boogie Street, and the people there run it. They say it's a charity.
Isn't going to school more important than this?
Mum says it's necessary to do both, because it builds character. Mum says a proper worker is dutiful. That's how you get ahead in life. You succeed.
There is stress and unease behind these words. She's reciting etiquette.
What is this crime business?
Crime fiction is about murders or burglaries or things like that, and the work of a policeman or a private detective who's trying to solve a crime and catch the criminals.
Why would anyone want to read about crime?
It's exciting to people, I guess. They get to imagine dangerous things, and it's kind of like a puzzle, where you can guess who the criminal is, or how the good guys are going to catch him.
I'm a policeman myself, by the way. The law, as I said.
You don't look much like a policeman.
She examines me as if to find something policeman-like. Oh, well, what does a cop look like then?
Didn't mean to offend, sir. Sorry, sir. It's just that you don't look like Dick Mullen.
She points to a book cover on which you see a strapping Vespertine officer. He stands grimly over the body of a dead woman. You know, nobody actually looks like the guy in the picture. That's just a stupid fantasy of a man.
She looks at Dick Mullen, frowning. Check out the pose. Rigid as a stick. He couldn't even wipe his own ass. You don't want to be like that. He isn't even drawn right.
He isn't even drawn right. This is not how human shoulders work. The perspective is all wrong.
She examines the picture, trying to find whatever is wrong with it. She then shrugs and puts the book aside, unconvinced.
That's just no way to cop. I can do it way better than Dick Mullen.
Sure you can, sir. He's just a fictional character. He'll be no match for you.
She smiles mischievously.
Maybe you can show me some real police work, sir. Like in the books.
I can deduce something. Gotta ask more questions first. Little girl, help! My Dick Mullen book got ripped before I could get to the end. Do you know what happens?
Which book was it, sir?
Dick Mullen and the Mistaken Identity.
Oh, I'm very sorry, sir. I haven't read that one yet. I wish I could help you.